but I'm being professional.
And I'm trying.
Kyle doesn't like quick, so no.
No! Start rolling around the floor. So Rob has left the building.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Derbados Inn. So we are so excited to be back and actually starting this journey, and I think from this point onwards you're gonna understand what this is all about, you know. So we are very excited to have here with us today Mr. Rob Hobbs. He is a father, he is a director, and he's going to be telling us everything about Derby and his mission in Derby, and also YWAM Derby and what's its mission here in the city. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. Nice.
Oh, that's the one. We'll do a bit of old Brucey. Should we do a bit of Brucey to start? Nice to see you. Nice.
So, Rob, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are?
I've got no idea for that. If someone out there knows who I am, please come and tell me. Well, I'm Rob. I'm nearly 60. And hopefully for my 60th birthday, I want to run a marathon. I've decided that I want to do something to celebrate my 60th birthday. I love parties, I love food, I love everything. I'd like to achieve something. So it is my goal to run a marathon. Now, I grew up in Essex, so I'm sure most people will work out my Essex East London accent. And then I never really grew up in what we call a Christian home. Mum and Dad always had a faith in God, and I suppose I was like many people of my age. I was always interested in God, but not quite sure what it was all about. And then one day I went to a church and I thought, I want to know a little bit more about what God is really about. So I think that was how I become a Christian, and I think becoming a Christian really changes the whole of your life. So when somebody says, "Who are you?" I'd say, well, I think I'm a follower of Jesus, and that's probably what I'm about. And what that looks like, I don't really know. Does that answer your first question? I'm told you I mustn't talk too much because I was about to give my whole life story and I get told off. Don't I? You two tell me off. So is that enough for the first question?
Yeah. So, but then you are. Kyle said you were a dad, you were a husband, and we did a video about Father's Day. If you didn't watch, you have the chance to. It's online there.
You see, I got told off for that. I talked too much.
We're gonna do actually a video about Rob on this one because it was really funny. But people didn't know much about your family because you have like 2 adopted children, like now 3, and 4 actually. Yeah. So can you tell a little bit about like your family to us?
I can do that, yeah. So I have one wife, which is very positive to have one wife. You will all be pleased to know that, just one. And me and Sandy met in YWAM. And that's another story. If you ask me the question, I will tell you. But we got married in 1994. So it's coming up to our 30-year anniversary in January. So 30 years of marriage. And me and Sandy, we sort of met. We met in Homestead Manor in the south in the YWAM base. And then we went very soon after we went to Albania. So a lot of our sort of life of getting to know each other was in Albania. And also in Denmark. So that is another story which you can ask me about if you want. But when we got married, because we're so influenced, I think, by our work in Albania, and particularly me, I'd done quite a lot of work in orphanages. And I think my work in orphanages really showed me that there were a lot of children out there that desperately needed a home. And some people say, well, children should be brought up in the culture they grew up in. But as I was looking at it, most children in orphanages, they don't grow up in that culture. They grow up in orphanage culture. And can I give a quick story? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So when I was in Albania, we went to this, and it wasn't an orphanage, it was a hospital. And I was asked to take my team to the hospital to see these children. And I said, what is wrong with them? And they said, well, actually nothing's wrong with them. They're all about 6 years old. And they came in when they were babies with probably diarrhoea or a stomach upset. And they'd probably been cured a long, long time ago. But their parents never collected them. So they're shut away in a room, tied to beds. and have been for about 4 or 5 years because no one's collected them, and because it's a hospital they have to be treated as they're sick. And one little boy's legs were like that, and I said, what's wrong with him? They said, well, there's nothing wrong, he's just never walked and developed. And then I realised that quite a lot of children in orphanages do not have, not just in Albania, but many places, do not have the opportunity to grow, even in that culture. And that really affected me, that. And then when we got married, we were thinking of having children, and there was a possibility of us having our own children. But then one day, a friend of mine who was working in China walked past our window in the mission we were living in, and they said, oh, come in, have a cup of tea with us. And he showed us some photos of some children, and he said, oh, this little boy's my favourite, but he's 2 years old now and no one will adopt him. And I went to bed that night and I said to my wife, Sandy, you know what, I'd love the opportunity to adopt that little boy. And she said, you know what, I was thinking the same. So we looked at the pictures again, we talked about it, and I said, well, we can always get carried away in the emotion of that moment, but I think sometimes we should just leave it. I said, why don't we leave it for a couple of weeks? If we remember and if we feel similar, let's talk about it again. And we both felt the same after 2 weeks and thought there was no harm in looking at that. So I'll make the story very short, that we felt before God that we should pursue that adoption. And we went through a process, and after 18 months we got our little boy Pangwa from the orphanage, and he has been a joy. He's 27 now. And then we thought we wanted to, because we were both only children, we decided to adopt a second from China, and we got our daughter Xiaoyu. And then some years ago we had Lewis join us, who was 15 at the time, so he's very much part of our family. And then now we have Kaio. Give everybody a wave, this is Kaio. So Kaio's officially part of the family as well.
Kaio Hobbs
so
now.
I now have English children, Brazilian children and Chinese children and an American wife, and we call ourselves the family from 4 continents. Does that answer your question,
Yes,
Fernanda? There you go.
And so if you were curious, if you watched the video, and like some people said to me, oh, I really didn't know that Rob had 2 children. And we didn't know he had 2 Chinese children. So, you know, and they didn't know like about Louis and Kaya. So they said, where are these children? So anyways, if you didn't know, now you know this story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit awkward actually, isn't it, like for me to have to interview me on that. I mean, but I'm being professional.
And I'm trying.
You never do.
Apparently, I'm very trying.
It's a job, this too. I'm just saying.
You're laughing too much. You told me I've got to be serious.
So we have like lots of questions for you. Of course, we all part of YWAM, and for those of you that doesn't know what YWAM is called, it's an organization. It's a missionary organization, interdenominational Christian organization called Youth with a mission.
Do it in Portuguese.
Is it a mission? Is it correct? Or,
Yeah.
It's A.
is it a British way?
It's A. Yeah, it's A.
The America says A too.
Yeah.
Should do.
Okay, not a mission.
No.
Youth with a mission.
A.
A mission.
Say it in
Okay.
Portuguese. Go on, do it.
Jovens com uma missão.
There you go. Oh, I'm trying to learn Danish. So for all those people out there, it's Ungom med opgave.
Okay.
There you go.
There's
Probably
it.
destroyed the language completely, and you can write and tell me.
So, Rob, what is YWAM about? Like, for people that doesn't know what's YWAM, what is YWAM?
I don't know the answer to that either. I think very simply, it's to know God and to make him known. And I think if we start there, and then that's what it's about, it's everything else. And I think to try and put YWAM in a box in a category, I really don't think that works well. I mean, we're known for training. We run DTSs, Bible core courses, and many different courses, and you can find them online. I think you can find most training courses, and we're also known for evangelism, and we're also known for mercy ministries, and I think those 3 things are very important to us and probably covers a variety of things. How you do something in YWAM? it's up to that person. And I think that we can have a place for most people who want to know God more and make him known.
How did you get involved with YWAM?
Now that question, that is
in a short way.
In a short. There's many
Short
ways I
version.
could do it.
Short version.
There's a short version. Let's see how short I can do it. Well, shall I start and say why I got involved in missions before I say why I got involved in YWAM?
You got in missions before you got to YWAM?
Yes,
Oh,
I did.
nice.
And I think that's important for people to understand, because I became a Christian. And I was attending church, doing different things, and someone invited me to and this is where I'll mention 2 or 3 other organisations, because I think whatever Christian organisation you're in or church, we've got the same aim. We all should have the same goal. We're not competing against each other. We've all got the same goal, to really basically let people know about Jesus. How we do it and how it is may be different, but we should be working together and have the same goal. So I went on a camp with Salt Mine Trust, and I had a great time. I think it was about 1985, so a long time ago. And they had a missions night. And this lady, and I remember her, I think it's Pat Cook, she came along and she gave a great idea of missions. It was fantastic. But for someone like me who'd never been overseas and never thought of going overseas, not even on holiday, missions was something far out there that it was not my experience in life, and it wasn't something that I could consider. So when she did a call for people to be missionaries, I couldn't stand on with that, because I just did not have that experience in my life. But then she made a second call, and it was, she said, and I completely agree with her, mission starts where you are. It's where you live. And that did call to me that I had an experience with Jesus that I wanted to share with other people. And so I stood, I will go home and I will do something. And I joined a team with Youth for Christ, and we would go out every Tuesday night on the streets, get to know young people that were very similar to me, a few years younger than me. And I really felt by just, sometimes we were on the street late at night, pouring the rain, eating a bag of chips, talking about Jesus. And that sort of detached youth work I really, really, really loved. And I spent a good 3 or 4 years, I think, doing that with Youth for Christ. And Youth for Christ are fantastic, and I really have a great, and Salt Mine as well. And I began to get the feel that I wanted this to be my life. I wanted to be in missions. I wanted to really grow in this. So I asked the Youth for Christ leaders, can I join your team permanently? And they felt that I should expand and go somewhere else. So I went to another city, applied for the job, and they come back to me and said that they felt I had a very strong personality, and they felt that I would overpower their team leader. I did ask if I could have his job. I suppose that wasn't a good idea. So they suggested that YWAM could handle me. So I joined YWAM because Youth for Christ thought I was too strong a personality. But they made the right call. So I joined YWAM. I wasn't sure. Can I tell you about my first experience with YWAM? Was that too much? Quick.
Can you do
So
Kyle doesn't like quick, so no.
No. So I went to this meet before I ever thought of joining. I went to this meeting that YWAM was leading, and I've never experienced some things like deliverance. Can I get up? Am I able to get up? Because so someone give a preach, and then suddenly they said we're going to have ministry, and this was new to me, and I thought I was going to get some nice coffee and biscuits. And then this ministry started and people started rolling around the floor and shaking, and I've never seen anything like it in all my life, thinking, well, I don't want to do much with these people again. At some point I went to get my biscuits and I had to be stepping over people rolling around the floor to get to the coffee and biscuits. So it took me another 2-3 years to get over that one. So now I'm probably rolling around the floor with the best of them, but there we go. So that's how I joined YWAM. Is that all right, Fernanda?
I think I'm going to go straight to the cup in here.
Oh, yeah, go on then,
And,
Carl. You do that. I'm ready.
Thank you. So, I think it's very interesting because so then you joined YWAM, and that was YWAM. Was that YWAM London or was
No, it was Homestead Manor.
Oh, was it
Okay.
straight to the manor?
Straight to Homestead Manor.
So
yes.
you started at a manor.
Mm-hmm.
So how was this transition then to YWAM Homestead Manor, and how did you arrive in Derby? Was it through YWAM, or did you just wanted to come to Derby? How was this transition, like leaving Sussex to suddenly move to Derbados? Like
Derbados, is that what we get? Derbados?
Yeah.
I've got a song for you later, but I won't sing it. Wait till you get my song out. Oh, I'm going to Barbados. We'll sing that later.
Okay.
not Barbados.
Derbados.
Derbados.
We'll
Cool.
sing. We'll change the words. I'll get you a song.
Honestly, suddenly we are talking about Derby. Suddenly he's gonna take us to where Barbados.
Barbados,
No,
you said.
okay,
It's
but
all right.
anyways.
Barbados.
So, I spent 10 years in Homestead Manor and some very happy years. But I think part of what I was doing with Homestead was a lot of travelling. I ran our discipleship training school, I ran about 6 or 7, maybe more. And then we were on outreach for 3 months a year. I think one year in 92, I spent only 3 months in England, and the other 3 months I was in different countries, in Denmark, Germany and Albania. So I did a lot of travelling. I spent 18 months in YWAM Denmark, which I really enjoyed. But we were in Homestead 10 years. We adopted our first son, and I think after the 10 years, we started to wonder, should we stay in YWAM or is there something else? We'd thought about YWAM Albania, but for different reasons, with particularly our parents not being well, we decided to stay in the UK, and we felt we wanted to be more in the city. And we got given a few options. One was Derby, and when we come to Derby, we liked the idea that there was already a work here, already a base here, and a group of people that we could join and be a part of. And I think that we made that transition in 2000. But I think it was mainly that we really felt there was a lot of work to be done in the city areas of England, really.
That's interesting. So, when you got here, what was attractive for you in the city? Because, nowadays, if we look around, there's a lot to be done in the city. Lots of people to help, lots of people in needs. So, when you got here for the first time to sort of check it out, how was that like? What did you see, and what was the opportunities you saw in the city?
I think when I first come, although I liked living at Homestead Manor and I loved the community, I just was not a country person. So I think part of it was that I know people love living in the country, and for me, I think I'd come to the point that it wasn't really me. It was not what I'd grown up in. So being in a city where you can go out at 2 a.m. and get a kebab, it is quite was actually quite appealing to me. So it was the idea of actually being in the city. The other thing, our children are Chinese, and I think we wanted an opportunity to be in a more multicultural place. And I think the multiculturalness of Derby and the fact that churches and people work together, I think was very appealing to me. And I think for YWAM, I think we're one of the few that have bases in the city. We're not the only ones, but I always feel that having this centre here, being in the city, being around multicultural people, and many of the issues. I mean, the good thing about Derby is, or perhaps something about it, it has every social issue you can think of. It's not a huge city, so it's not big, but it's got things here. And it's a great thing for people to come to learn about. There are poor people here. We have a way of feeding people here. We have a way of looking after the poor and needy. And I think, as I said earlier, when churches and organisations work together, it's a powerful thing. We're all about the same thing. So I never think YWAM's the answer. I think it's part of the answer, but it's definitely not the answer.
So you said like that Derby is very multicultural. Do you know how many nationalities are mostly like? Do you have an idea of how many nationalities we have in the city?
I think sometimes that the question is who's not here. I think there is so many. I wonder if we could actually pretty much go around and find someone from most nations in the world. We would probably struggle with some of the more Oceania islands, but I would imagine that there are people from a lot of places here. And I think that's very positive. I know some people find multiculturalism difficult. I personally find a lot of benefits in it. I think there's a lot of joy in being part of different cultures.
It's like a big YWAM.
Yes.
It's like a
well,
big YWAM
in
thing.
Derby as well, I think sometimes we might struggle with each other, but it's also one of our strengths. I mean, look I'm in a room with 3 Brazilians and a South African. What more could I want?
So you came to Derby, and when did you become? Because we say, I don't know if we said, but Rob is the director of the YWAM Derby base. And how did you become the director of the base here? Like, how did you come to this base?
Nobody else wanted the job, Fernando.
Okay.
There's some truth in that. I mean, when I came, we had the leader was Ian White, and I think it was time. He felt it was time to move on, and somebody asked me if I would do it, and people were generally in agreement. So I took it, and I think that was in about 2001, 2002, and then I spent about 2 or 3 years doing that before I did more national work with YWAM in England. And then in 2016 I came back, and people asked me to have another go, and that's how I've sort of been here, and it's been it's been a good few years. I've enjoyed it.
Good. What's your heart for like the base? Because we have kind of a different base here. We don't have lots of training, and we are kind of different. And so I would like you to share with us a little bit of your heart for this base. How what's your heart when you start to rebuild the place here?
I think my heart. I mean, sometimes we're influenced by things we've done in the past. And as I said earlier, I spent about 18 months in YWAM Denmark, and I did a school of evangelism and urban missions. And I think the way we built the base in Copenhagen was people came with a mission. They come with a purpose. I came because I wanted to reach young people. Some people came because they wanted to reach people of other cultures. Some people come because they wanted to help people who had unexpected pregnancies. And there was a variety of issues that we all came with. And we wanted to set up a mission around that. And I feel that when we want to reach a city, that we need to really have, because you can't have one heart. You know, if you want to reach the poor and then reach the young, I think you need different skills and different people with different hearts. So it's not just about my heart. My heart is to see people with a vision for a particular issue, whether that's young people, the marginalised, or whatever it is, to come and be able to set a work and a mission up here. So we become one big family with many different parts. And I think that is what we can do in an inner city. I think we want to be part of training, but I think that we want to provide training that enables people to work in the different aspects and spheres of the city. I think one of our arts is to see DTS outreach come here. I think that we often spend a lot of time with our 3 months training people in knowing God, and then when it's time to go on outreach, I think that outreach should have lots of different flavours in it. I think that one of the flavours is proclamation evangelism. I think that is one of the hearts of it, but there's also other ways to share the gospel. And I think that we need to make sure that we can do it in different ways, with the marginalised, with feeding sometimes, for caring for people, getting part of youth groups, and really knowing the appropriate way to share God's love. And sometimes I always feel that sometimes we're planting seeds. Sometimes we're bringing somebody a step further because we care and love them. And I don't think there's one way to say Jesus loves you. I think there's a lot of ways. And I think for me, it's about finding a way and people know that we care. And I think that people want to know that they're cared for and that Jesus is about loving you and often accepting you for who you are. And I think we have to be prepared to accept people for who they are, let them know that Jesus loves them, and hold their hand to see a new future.
There we go. Yeah.
That's amazing. And we actually do have a location in Derby, don't we?
Oh, what, sorry?
A location. We do have a place.
We have a building, which is a location. Yeah.
I love the communication between these two.
Good. We can get into it. We have a location of a building.
We have a location of a building. We have a building,
Rob.
We have a building.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue.
We have a building?
We're in it now. This is it. We're sitting in it now. We're in the third floor.
We're sitting in the building.
We're in the building.
It's good that we're sitting in the building.
Hang on, here you go. I've got a sign coming. Rob is in the building. He's not left.
I don't think I'm paid enough for this interview today. Bring it on the coffee.
You see, I'm being very well behaved for me.
Bring it on the coffee.
He is well behaved.
Now, when I leave, do you know what we're going to say? You know how we're going to finish the interview today?
No.
We're going to shout out, Rob has left the building.
All right, Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point, you know that he has left the building. He left the stage and went out the back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building.
Just say, Rob has left the building.
Okay, we'll do it.
So if by any chance you feel like you want to pay us a visit, you are very welcome
to our location.
To our location / building. Anyway, so you're very welcome to pay us a visit and sit down and have a cup of tea with us.
And coffee.
Or whichever drink you prefer.
Or a biscuit as well.
Oh dear.
And get to know a little bit more about our work and what we do. You are very welcome to. The doors you'll be always welcome. The kettle will be always boiling.
Yeah.
Always on, always ready for you, babes. But anyways, so we keep going in here.
Let's keep going.
We will keep going. We won't get stuck in here, sweetheart. No, we won't. Honestly, we won't. So get going in here. So of course, like I think as we are a charity and non-profit organization and stuff, how, of course, like I believe we need people supporting us and supporting our mission and support what we do for the city and all of that. So today, talking about today's environment, could we share with us like a little bit of our needs at the moment? What are we needing? And also people that are listening to this, how could they help and be a part of this mission, you know. If you can't perhaps like help us practically, you're very welcome to help us, support us financially, and you know, and yeah, just support our mission, you know, because it is important in a life.
And lots of people, like there's lots of people that actually always asks us, how, like, doesn't YWAM pay you? Because people don't know how we live in YWAM. Like they don't know how we keep a house like that. The people, like, they actually have no idea that what is to be a YWAM, or how we live.
And how do we keep the building as well? Because, you know, it's a big building, so there is like maintenance, things break, we all know that. So
things fall down.
You're going to be able to tell us all about that. So, we, you know, things happen, and, you know, how do we keep up a building like this running? And, you know, so... yeah, just tell us a little bit.
How do you get all these people to work in this house without paying them a salary? Like,
No idea.
It's interesting for people to know, because that's one of the questions that people always ask. Like this last week, I had someone asking, like, "Oh, so YWAM doesn't pay you? You actually pay to live in YWAM?" Yes, we need to you know
contribute.
We need to contribute. How are we going to live? So can you tell us a little bit like about it?
Well, the simple answer is everybody lives by faith. So nobody gets a wage from YWAM at all. I think that maybe when we had a ship, the captain had to be paid $1 a year legally. But apart from that, I don't believe anybody's actually paid. So it's up to each individual to find their own personal support. And that sometimes comes by a group of friends. Sometimes it comes through a church, and sometimes not even people who are Christians, they just have a heart or get what we do. So it's always, in my mind, a relationship. There was a song once, so it was a bit of a joke. I think it was, I'll pray for you and you pray for me. And I think somebody joked.
I'll say a little prayer for you.
No, not that one,
Okay.
that's Aretha. And now it went, I pray for you and you pray for me.
Okay.
And someone felt in YWAM it was, I will pray for you and you pay for me. But that probably wasn't a very positive way of looking at it. I would say that we pray for each other. And I think that is about within a relation. We're praying for each other. And I think you ask, how do people support? I think it does actually start in prayer. I think that I'm not a great one for saying we need money, because I don't think that's what this is about.
Yeah.
I think it's about a relationship, and I say, would you pray for us here? Would you find an individual to pray for? And if praying for them, you feel the Lord does want you to support them or support us, that's how this goes. This is, to me, how it works. I could say we need money today, and I just don't. That for me is not the way I feel I like operating. I like to operate in, let's have a discussion, let's talk, let's give you prayer points, and while you're praying, we develop a relationship, if that's not around our location or our building or with the individual. But that, to me, what it's about. And I think that we have many people here doing different types of missions. And I think in that, to find out what they do, I mean, we have James and Mary who feed and help the homeless. We have Jonathan who work with the youth. And we have many of us doing many other different missions. And I think all of that works. We also, as well as doing outward missions, we have to do work in the building as well. This is a very old building. It's well over 150 years old.
Whoa.
I think it's been marked here in about 1814. I think probably around about 1850 this building existed. So there's often work in just keeping the building going, and we all work together to maintain, to clean, to tidy. I'm probably the decorator, so I've probably decorated all 30 odd rooms. Do you like my wall? I'm not bad at wallpaper.
Oh, yeah,
I like the wallpaper.
He did the wall for us.
I did the wall. You were happy with that?
Yeah,
That's not bad. It's not a bad job. So I tend to be the decorator, but not particularly good when it comes to everything else. Everything I put up falls down except the wallpaper. So I was going to say also a little story. Our wall, which is a very large Victorian wall surrounding it, been there probably 150 years, decided to fall down in the middle. So it's like this huge wall, probably a feature of the area, and suddenly on Saturday it just went like that. I've got his CTV. We're looking and looking. It's there. It's there. Oh, it's gone. So that is quite a problem. There's 20 trees or more in this property. All are protected, but they cause trouble to the walls, to the things. So sometimes the practical things are quite difficult for us. So now we've got to pray for, because a wall could have hurt somebody. And we thank God that nobody was hurt. No one was walking by. And, now we've got to find out how to mend things and to keep things safe. But that's all the challenge.
Yeah, like as Rob said, we are a missionary organization. We live by faith. And this building is kept by faith and of course by the care of the leadership of the base, and everyone take care. But like there is always many ways of helping us. And as Rob said, one of ways is praying, because what we do here, we are always trying to serve. So basically, the main thing we do in the city is to serve the city. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it is to serve the city, whether that is the people, and whether that's the churches or organisations. Is that I'd like to feel that we are part of partnering, part of serving, and working alongside. And sometimes we do our own mission, and sometimes many of us serve a local church, and I know you two serve your local churches, and that's important, whether that's in administration or whether that's in practical help. It's all part of what we are called to do here, is to serve the local church and to build God's kingdom.
I think I just would like to bring you back to the financial part, and even the joke we did about
I'll pray for you.
The prayer pay me. I'd like to make a hook on that one. By the way, we are not. I don't think. Well, I can say for the majority part of the base, we are not. We don't endorse prosperity gospel. By the way, I think.
What's that? No, we don't. No, don't know.
We don't. That's
so.
true.
Let's just for you that is hearing us right now. We just and don't have a clue about even what is a prosperity gospel. I'll just give it a brief explanation. So prosperity gospel is a side of. It's an idea of that inside the theology that because you are a Christian and because you have faith in God. You're gonna always have the finances. God is gonna bring you like all the finances, or perhaps like some people even make you give all you have in a promise that God is gonna give you something. So, and we don't believe in that theology. We believe that sometimes even being a Christians, we can go through financial challenges. And it's
many life different challenges because we don't think that we are different. We are in the same world. The difference is I think is the perspective that we have a God that's help us to go through different situations, and our relationship with God is about who He is and not about what He can give to us.
And He never promised us that we would have, if we served Him, we would have a perfect life. So. It's not because I serve God that I need to be wearing a Balenciaga every day. God never promised me to keep me up with a Balenciaga.
I love a Balenciaga, would you?
Well,
see, I've been in YWAM so long, I don't know Valencia what it is anyway. So, what's he, a Valencio?
Balenciaga.
A Balenciaga. What's a Balenciaga?
It's a brand. It's a very
brand.
expensive brand.
Oh.
So, so we don't believe in that. So we believe that even being a Christian, yes, we're going to go through hardships. And that means like in any circumstance of life, financially, in situations,
like
you know.
health issues.
Yeah.
The thing is, like Rob said, we live by faith, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think many things that like we can tell by living here, that many of things that we've been through, God has provided just by we praying. And as Rob said, and by our relationships, like that there's a big...
I think there's a difference between what... I mean, I never believed that living in an extreme is a good idea. I never think that, you know, perhaps I don't want you know what, I've never really wanted a Valencia What's-It or anything like it's just not where I'm at. But I don't really want to be particularly poor either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always lived in a place where I think God will provide.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have not had very much and I'm a little bit concerned here. But you know, I've always felt that God has been faithful, and somewhere along the line it has worked. There's a few times thinking, I probably can't go on for much longer. And then suddenly I'm blessed with some more finances or something comes along. And when I first joined YWAM, I know I thought I would only stay for 6 months. And I was...
We all did.
Oh, well, no. And one of the friends from my DTS's dad was one of the founders of YWAM, and I was talking to him about this whole financial area, and he said, you know what? He said, I brought up 3 kids, and there's times we have been scraped the bottom of the barrel. But once you're at the bottom, the only way's up. And I probably lived my life like that. I've found the bottom of the barrel a couple of times, but the only way is up. And I don't believe that God wants us to live in poverty.
Yeah.
So I've never wanted to be poor. I've never really felt that, you know what, perhaps I'm quite simple in what I want. But, you know, God has always blessed me beyond. Well, beyond that, I can give you a story. So, am I right with a quick faith story?
You do, but you have a meeting in a minute.
Oh, no, a quick faith story. So, some years ago, we were travelling back on a coach all the way from Albania. Me and my wife, Sandy, we had been very blessed by borrowing cars for some period. And we felt it was time we got a car. So, our faith level, so sometimes your faith level is very low. Our faith level was for a car that a sort of, if you give it a push, might go. Because we thought that's all the money that we had. So we think, well, perhaps we should go up to a car that would start most of the time and actually didn't need a push. So we sort of raised the finances that we needed, just from £100 to maybe £5. We need something that goes most of the time. And so we got home and thought, we're going to start praying and believing for a car that we don't have to push, that would mostly start. Now, through a certain set of circumstances, which an uncle of mine died suddenly, and through that he had just bought a very nice brand new car, and my dad and my other cousins who inherited his estate decided that they would give me the brand new car.
Oh.
So from a place of having faith for a car that might not start and had to be pushed, within a week we had got given a brand new car, 6 months old. So sometimes when we start with low expectation, God wants to bless us beyond. And, you know, that car took us for a good 10 years and it was huge, it was hatchback, and it was always full of people and full of things. And, you know, it served a mission for many years.
How long have you been living by faith? Like this way that we live?
Probably 33 years.
33 years.
Yeah, my church in Essex has supported me through that. Some individuals have supported me through that. And there have been some family gifts along the way. And somehow it has worked. And we've brought up 3 to 4 children on that. And we've all, you know what? We've always had food on the table. We've always paid our bills. We have had some nice holidays along the way. We've had cars, and I've never had to push one, I don't think. Apart from the YWAM vehicles that I probably, in my early days of YWAM, I literally pushed a van once from the German border into Belgium because we needed to find our mechanic in the coach to get the bus running. And I literally pushed this thing across the Belgian border. So I've had some dramas with YWAM vehicles, and probably those who have been around a long time have all had a YWAM vehicle story.
So I think it's very interesting that we talk about all of these things as well, because I think some people as well have that mentality that because we're missionaries as well, we need to starve. You know, we need to be sent to Africa and starve to death, and that's also like serving God and how missions are supposed to be like.
You are not supposed to be a missionary in England, do you? In Europe, you're not.
Exactly.
That's some cultural mindsets.
Exactly.
Though.
Like some people as well, say that you can just be a missionary if you go to a very poor country, very very subdeveloped country, and starve to death with people, and that's being a missionary. So, which is very selective, you know. Like, so poor people can and must hear about Jesus, whether the rich know, you know, like, so it's very selective, and it doesn't actually make sense when in reality I think the gospel is for everybody, regardless of
all the tribes, isn't it?
Yeah, regardless, like, if someone is poor, rich, black, white, you know, yellow. Anyways, I think another thing that it's important we talk about, it's like our mission itself and how we need people to keep going, and to keep this mission going and to expand, whether it's like a worship leader or whether it's like someone that is very skilled in maintenance or
like even
groundwork,
in what we do, really, like media wise and everything.
I mean, whichever is your skill at the moment, I think we always can find a utility for you. You'll never be useless in here. So I think that's very important. So if by any chance you're listening to this and say like, yo, I've got this skill, but I don't know if I can be helpful, we are pretty sure we're gonna find.
Do you think what kind of people the base needs at the moment, Rob? If you would say like we need people today, what kind of people do we need at the moment? Like people, ministries or whatever. I don't know. I don't have all the words in English, but you get my question. So can you tell us about that?
I'll probably answer it in a slightly different way. I need people who care.
Who care?
I think that's it. I think people who love others and care. Because for me, the gospel of Jesus is about caring. Mm-hmm. And if we care for other people and we can listen to others, then I think those are the sort of people I need. I would love people with a lot of practical gifts. I probably need a more administration, but...
And a worship leader.
I would love a worship leader. But ultimately...
You can have 2 worship leaders.
Ultimately, you need to care and you need to love.
Oh.
And I think those are the sort of people that I really feel we need. I think wherever we are, if we want to truly say that we have a gospel... Oh, what's this? There's something happening.
This is a heart.
Is it a heart?
Yeah, because you've been so cute.
Oh, look at this. Now, what is it, this thing and that thing?
It's a Korean heart.
Oh, it's a Korean heart. Look at Kai, we're not doing the Korean heart. We all do the other...
You don't want him to use his finger.
You don't want to use it. A Korean heart. Oh.
Korean.
So, yeah, and I think that, to me, I do want people to listen. I wasn't he cute? Do we all do it?
Yes, you can finish what you were saying again.
So, it's about... Oh, God, on a tangent.
It's a little bit of the ADHD going on in here.
No, I've got... I think I could have always been diagnosed with it. But, yes, it's about caring for people. And listening to them. Because you don't listen to them. Talking at people, telling them they need to know Jesus, if you don't listen to them, you're not going to take them on the journey. And I think that Christianity is a journey. You might help someone start that journey, but somebody else needs to take them on that journey. And I think that I want people to take people on the journey. Mm-hmm. So once we've sown the seed of saying, do you want to know Jesus? Once you make that commitment, that's not the end, it's a beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to be very conscious that we want to make sure that people who make decisions don't fall away very quickly. But we want to be part of a journey. And sometimes journeys are messy. And sometimes we have to take part in those journeys. But they can be fun journeys. And sometimes people who want to come on the journey with us might not be the people that we want on our journey. And I always say to people, the kingdom of God is going to be full of many different people. And some of them are going to be the ones you disagree with. And we've got to make sure that we will take everybody on our journey. And that we have a heart to listen, hear, understand and care.
When I joked about the ADHD, there is this thing about...
I break in and interrupt your conversation. You find it very annoying.
That as well. But there is a good old meme of our darling JC. If you do not know JC, JC stands for Gemma Collins, and you might know who I'm on about. And I'm going to give you an explanation of this
Is
meme.
that a trifle over there?
Let me explain it first. Honestly, people ain't going to get it.
I've got ADHD, I have to do it.
Honestly. So there is this meme that is going around, and it's like literally like she's visiting this dessert place, and she just tried a dessert that she suddenly like remembered of her nan, and you know all of that, and she's explaining the waitress like how much that dessert made her feel emotional because she's like remembering her nan. Suddenly, like while she's explaining that, she spots a trifle, and then suddenly she's like, you see that she changes like from water to wine, like out of the blue. She's like, oh, you know, I remember my nan and stuff. Suddenly she looks, is that homemade trifle out there? Oh, go on, darling, give us a bit. So you see that she's all emotional and oh, my nan. And as soon as she spots the trifle, the energy changes right away, and it's him.
Exactly.
See, he's talking about something emotional at the same, like when he spots something that it's absolutely different, he interrupts the subject to talk about something out of the blue.
But I have the gift to go straight back in. So I mean, so when we do some personality things, do Myers-Briggs and things like that, I'm an example, and I'm always brought up by one of the teachers. And one day I was talking to him, we were having this very serious conversation like that, and I happened to hear something behind me. So I turned around and, oh yes, I remember that, and then started talking and then completely come back to her. And carried on with the conversation that I was having.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And I can do that. And actually, I could probably hold 2 or 3 conversations and go backwards and forwards. And I think, so we're joking, you know, about AH. I don't know whether I've got that or not. But
I'm pretty sure.
Do you think you get it? I think I grew up in a time when people didn't get those labels. So I just went through school and time just being who I was.
He's really naughty. If you didn't notice, so
yeah, I could completely take this conversation. I've got strict orders not to interrupt and see. Haven't I been mostly behaved?
He has been
I'm very well behaved.
Well, we love Rob, and we are very thankful for his life and for this base. We are very thankful because we are very free to serve here and to, do what God put in our heart. I think Rob has a heart for that. We if we have something, a skill, and we want to pursue it as a ministry, we can do that. So we are very thankful for you. Mm-hmm. And he's naughty sometimes, but we do.
Most of the time.
But
sometimes, most of the time. 99.99999%.
But we do love you, Rob, and we are very thankful for you. That's true.
I'm very thankful to be here. It's been a great time, and I think you've done very well in interviewing me, and I have done my very best. 'Cause
He's
I
not
could
going to-
take this over, couldn't I? I could just interrupt the whole lot, couldn't I? We could have a great time, and I've done my very best to be exceptional. And you haven't laughed that much. I managed to keep us in a good place.
You did.
Well, I think that was all for today. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you much, Kaya.
Thank you so
I interrupted.
much.
See, I interrupted.
Thank you very much.
Is that a trifle there?
I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this today, will I?
No, we're
I can't
Oh
wrap
my
things
dear.
up.
Both of them, they're always having an argument. So, it's just get over it. So thank you so much
Thank
for coming.
you.
Can I say
Welcome.
thank you over there as
You
well?
can,
Because you
you
told
can.
me at the beginning, because I turned round when I say, so we'll say good night, goodbye together, Sonia.
We can.
Let me
finish.
close
Finish.
things
Then
and you
we
wrap
say
it
good-
up.
You wrap
okay,
it up.
and then you do your
Don't
show,
worry.
okay?
Okay, we're
Because
together.
he needs all the flashlights on him. So, anyways, thank you very much, you that is following us. And of course, I think this is our first journey for more or less you understand what this is all about. And we are very excited for our next upcoming guest as well that is coming on the next few episodes. And it's just amazing to have you with us and exploring not just the serious side, but also the fun side of things. Just thank you. And we can't wait for you to check it out, our next guest, and what people actually have to say. Thank you, Rob, for separating some time to sitting down with us and chatting to us. Thank you very, very much for your jolly personality. And yes, thank
I've
you,
got to
everybody.
say, your English is getting better. You're beginning to speak proper, just like me, if you know what I mean.
That's the problem
That's
of
the
living with
problem.
someone from
From
Essex.
Essex.
I stopped pronouncing the T because when I got to England, my T was perfect, and now I cannot do that anymore. It's
The
just
water
like
in
so.
Mallorca.
Exactly.
Don't taste like what it oughta.
I used to be very good at pronouncing water. Nowadays, just give us a little bit of water. And it's just...
By the way, I love the British accent. For me, it's the best accent
My
around the
accent,
world.
you mean? It's great, isn't it?
I love British accent.
The Essex, you want it's the Essex.
And I
British
love the
could be
North one,
Scottish
though.
as well. Do you like the Scottish one?
I like the North
The North one, the North one.
Yeah.
Right, so that's it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to
We're
finish
not going
this.
to close, are we?
So, yes, thank you very much, and I can't wait to see you guys again back at
And
Derbados.